What's going on, guys? It is Redgrave here. I am back here with my good friend from UrbanCowGaming, Julian, and we are going to be talking Spider-Man Far From Home. No, not Far From Home. No Way Home spoilers. So many. Oh my god, dude. Like, we haven't really discussed anything since we've both seen it. We saw it separately, and I wish I could have seen it with you because it would have been a freaking experience. So,
it was so good.
So you saw it opening night on Thursday, right?
I saw it Thursday night, 8:45 p.m. 3D.
Okay, so I saw mine on Friday, and I think it was 8 o'clock in RPX, which was also a really, really good experience. So it wasn't IMAX, but it was like the next step below IMAX, and I was actually really satisfied with it. I actually got really, really good seats. That's the only reason why I chose like that specific theater, was because like Amanda and I were sitting like right at the very like middle of like the last row before the front row. So they were like, we had like the leg rests and everything. It was perfect. Like 2 seats right there.
I spammed at midnight on the 29th. And I wanted the 3D tickets, and I bought 5. So it wasn't just like I was getting one for me and my girlfriend. I bought 5 of them, and I happened to get the middle row of the theater, middle seats.
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
I sat right in the center of the room.
Oh, good shit.
Perfect.
That's awesome. So we both got like the ideal theater experience for it, which was awesome. So just full disclosure for everybody watching this. So like, I don't know about you, Julian, but I am not interested in doing like a like tiptoey, like spoiler-free discussion. And just going through that.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So like, I
don't want spoilers. Don't watch this video.
If you don't want spoilers, just go watch the movie if you haven't already.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I remember at work, like the next morning, my boss was like, if you say anything, you're fired. Like, you're done.
Same.
And I looked at him and I gave him this, and he was like, get out. Just get out. And
so we all walked out of the theater after it was done. And I looked at my buddy Seth, who was there with me, and we just kind of looked at each other and was like, did that really just happen?
Oh my god, dude. I was the same way.
He was like, he goes, dude, I think they really like made that movie from like the heart of like comic book children.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, I'm not joking when I say that the adrenaline rush was so high for me that I actually almost passed out at the end. I could feel myself getting woozy.
I was in tears from the moment the movie started until like 3 hours after it ended.
Oh my god, man.
Because the character is so good.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland is so good that like just like also like I got chills just talking about it right now.
Yeah.
It's like when you walk in and the first thing that happens is just that, you know, bum 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 bum, that Marvel logo, and you're just like, fuck, but you know it's gonna be Spider-Man and it's gonna be impactful, and you know that like all the villains are back and all this crazy stuff. It was just the rush of walking in there. It was so good. And then
I really liked the tone that it set from the beginning too, because like this is like my own personal opinion, and like I've said this to death, but like I'm not a fan of Homecoming and Far From Home. Like I don't necessarily like the way that those movies are written and the way that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is written.
Really?
But I was just never a fan of like the way that he was portrayed as Spider-Man, like / Peter Parker. But I think that in hindsight, this movie fixed that, and well, I'll get into why later. But what I was gonna say is that like, you know, the first 2 movies, like the Homecoming and Far From Home, they started with that like da 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 da, like they started with that. But this one, they started with the like dark Peter Parker is Spider-Man with the Mysterio message, and it was like very ominous, and it was like a good tone setter because it wasn't like the high school drama like the other 2 were. This was like, this is Spider-Man drama, and we're just gonna get right into it, and I really appreciated that. Like I think Tom Holland in this movie is the best out of like all of the movies that he has been
this is
in.
by far the best of all the Tom Holland movies, and I sort of like the way that it starts off by slapping you in the face exactly with the end of Far From Home. Like,
Oh yeah.
it picks up and they're like, here you go, in case you didn't watch this last movie, this is the ending. And
I was actually really
exactly
hoping
how it
that
was.
I was really hoping they would use their one F-bomb for the PG-13 like showing just at the very beginning right there. I think that would have been great.
And that it's okay though.
Yeah, it was fine. I was like, are they actually gonna do it? Because that would be great. And then they censored it. I was like, I understand why, but I think it would have been really cool if they actually dropped that F-bomb. But so 15 minutes into the film, right? My first prediction was right. My boy Charlie Cox as Matthew Murdock comes in. It's so brief. It's so like nonchalant, but I was geeking in the theater, and so was everybody else. I was like, yep.
Because we were in the theater that we were in it wasn't packed. Like I thought there was
that's crazy.
A ton of people there. It was not as full as, I mean, there was a lot of people, but it was not like full to the brim.
Yeah.
And my theater did not react to him the way that I did. Like me and because my girlfriend was sitting next to me. Now she likes the Marvel movies, but she's not like 100% invested in them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but she's starting to now. Now that we've seen this movie, she's like, "Oh my god, I love Spider-Man."
Oh, good.
But I told her before we went in, I said, and her brother was there with us, and he also predicted that Charlie Cox was going to be in it. He goes, keep hearing rumors Charlie Cox is going to be in it. She goes, who the fuck is Charlie Cox? I was like, it's fucking Daredevil.
Yeah,
and
it's not just any Daredevil. Like, it is the Daredevil.
She goes, well, how do you, and she asked me, do you think that he's going to be in it? And I said the same thing that I said to you, which was that I think that if they're going to introduce him, that if he comes in as Daredevil, it's going to be too much, and it's going to be a whole bunch of this, and it's going to be a lot of like, I don't want it to be a Daredevil in a Spider-Man movie. I really just want it to be Spider-Man and fighting the villains and stuff. So if they add Daredevil, it's going to be weird. But they didn't. They added
it's just
Murdock.
it's just a cameo. So, it's just like a brief, 1 minute scene.
And I really thought that, like, if I saw him on screen, I was going to be super disappointed. But, like, the second he showed up, I grabbed my buddy Seth's arm and I just went, oh!
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, no way. And I was like, oh my god. And we just sort of freaked out a little bit.
Yeah, same here.
And she goes, is that him? And I was like,
yeah, that's him. That's him.
Oh my god.
It's so awesome. And like literally just like the past week, like they were saying that he was coming back as Daredevil, and I was like, he's in this movie. Like they can't just say that now and have him not be in the movie. And I'm glad that he was used so quick, and like he was literally just a cameo, and that was it. There was one
thing.
Okay. Here's my unpopular opinion right now, because I've said this to everybody, and they've all given me that like, what the hell are you talking about, AJ thing. I didn't like the brick thing in hindsight, and here's why. Before you say it, here's why. Because, you know, he's Daredevil, he has his secret identity, like, you know, he's the lawyer, and he's obviously blind. So when he catches that brick, like, it's cool, and I was even like, oh shit, he caught the brick, it's because he's Daredevil, that's cool. And then even Tom Holland's like, how did you do that? And I was like, oh shit. Matt, you just totally fucked yourself right there because you did that. And he just goes, oh, I'm a really good lawyer, and they played it off as a joke. And I was like, no. You're not getting away with that. You were blind, and you caught that brick.
I think, like, for the cameo, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay, but it's like one of those little things where I'm just like, Matt, why did you do that? Like, I was like, why did you do that? You just couldn't help yourself, man.
Yeah. But now
it was cool.
He's officially MCU, and like almost guaranteed he's either going to get his own movie, or they're gonna do more of the show, or the next Spider-Man 4 is already in development, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And so the next movie will be Tom Holland and Daredevil.
Yeah, I almost wouldn't mind him either getting his own TV show, because I think he works better as a television show series. And he just, like, shows up in cameos, like, throughout. Like supposedly he's gonna be in She-Hulk, and, like, I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers about, like, Hawkeye, but like.
Oh, that I'm still not finished with it yet. I'm only on episode 5 because I've just gotten really busy with some stuff. So
Okay,
no
but
for episodes.
Okay, but you know what happens at the end of the 5th episode, right?
No, I haven't finished.
Okay. So I won't say anything about then like obviously. So like basically like as long as the character is still written correctly, like the way that he was in the show, and not just him, but like everyone else that they bring back to, like Foggy Nelson and Karen Page are coming back as well. Mm-hmm. As long as he is still written correctly, I think it's gonna work very well. But like if they make him all like Disney jokey Marvel stuff, then like I won't be as into it. But I think that like Charlie Cox has enough leeway to say like, you know, this isn't how the character would act, so like we should probably go into this direction instead, you know?
Yeah. And I think like I think it would be cool maybe if he doesn't, you know, maybe if he doesn't get his own movie or even show. I think it would be cool if like we play the Lego Marvel game, how Daredevil's just or not Daredevil, but how Deadpool's just kind of pops up in random places.
Yeah, Charlie Cox's Daredevil will just show up every once in a while.
Like if the show, like the Daredevil show is like done now, but he just as a hero pops up randomly.
Yeah.
I would also be okay with that. That way they don't overwrite him. They don't make it a big deal, but also when he shows up, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like that.
This was done really well. He showed up for like a solid like 3 minutes, and that's all you needed to know. Like,
not even 3 minutes, man. Yeah. So going past the Daredevil now, you know, obviously Peter screws up the spell, like everybody, like him and his like friends like are trying to get into college, and they're like, oh, this controversy, we can't just do it, you know. Goes to Doctor Strange for help. Doctor Strange isn't Sorcerer Supreme anymore, which I thought was kind of funny because of like the technicality thing, and like Wong became Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, and so like Steven seems a little bit bitter about it, and he's like, you know what, like I'm just gonna use my magic irresponsibly now and like help this kid. And like I'm glad that it wasn't just like the one time that like Peter like was saying like, oh, like, you know, I have to do like this. Like he kept screwing it up over and over again. And so like I feel like Strange should have just been like, okay, hold on, I'm gonna stop this completely now. Like give me a list of everybody else that you want, and then let's just leave it at that. But obviously that doesn't happen. The spell gets screwed up. And then, like, almost immediately after that, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock shows up on the bridge. Dude. Oh my god, he was so great.
So when I tell you, I couldn't hear him say, hello, Peter, because everyone was
Everyone in the theater went fucking crazy.
It was like, I got chills just thinking about it. Like, that moment, the arms showed up and everybody went, oh. And then the second arm showed up and everybody went, oh. And then he popped out and everybody was like, oh.
Oh my god.
You know?
Also, I realized this too. They used the spider sense in probably the best way that they've used the spider sense since like Tobey Maguire's era.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that we'll talk about like later on when they actually use it to like its full extent, which was fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. But that bridge fight was really, really good. And like I love so basically like they pull all of the villains who come in at very specific intervals. It's just sort of coincidental that like with Doc Ock, Willem Dafoe, and then Jamie Foxx's Electro, they all pull them in like right when they're about to die. So he's still at that point where like he's still evil. And we then later find out that like the reason why he's in such like a horrible mood is because it's the arms that are controlling him. So it's like, even though he basically went through like the entirety of like Spider-Man 2, he's at the very end, but he's still evil. So he like cleans himself up, finds Spider-Man on the bridge, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go kick his ass. Yeah. And we were also right about the Stark tech too. Like he rips off a piece of the Stark tech, and that's why his arms like go red and gold. Yeah, I wasn't expecting the Bluetooth thing though, which was hilarious. Like Peter's Iron Spider suit, it was great. Like he's like, oh, it just connects with the Bluetooth, and he starts taking control of the arms.
You know what I found out? Tom Holland hates the Iron Spider suit design.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Terrible. That's awesome.
The gauntlets, because he thinks that like he purposely. I watched a video on it, an interview. He purposely, like Spider-Man, you know, goes like that.
Yeah.
But he thinks that the gauntlet would like bruise Peter's hand if he did that. So when he shoots webs in that suit, he goes like this instead of like this.
Oh, that's weird.
And so, but he said, like, I added that into my acting because I didn't. Like,
it would bruise his wrist. Yeah, that's smart.
And so that's like really weird thing. Like, if I was acting as Spider-Man in that, I would not even fucking think about that.
That's really smart.
But apparently he hates that design.
That's hilarious, and that's the last time they use it too, which is even more great. But yeah, the bridge fight was awesome. Like, it wasn't I don't think it was anything like super spectacular, but just it was very quick and added the stake of like the MIT person being in peril, and like Spider-Man comes in and saves her and a bunch of the other people as well. But like he basically almost dies. He loses that fight, which is kind of cool. The fact that he just like he's so inexperienced and ill-equipped to like deal with these specific villains. So after that, we're immediately taken to the Wizard's dungeon, where Strange already captured the lizard. They have Doc Ock in there now, and Steven's like, yep, you screwed up. Like, here's your gauntlet. Go find these other people, and let's just do that. I will say, like, they teased the living hell out of, like, that black and gold suit, and I'm a little disappointed that, like, it wasn't really anything super special. And, like, I feel like the only reason that it was really made was just to sell toys, you know? Because it's like Spider-Man has to have, like, a bunch of different suits.
I called it. I said from the beginning that it was going to be his suit flipped inside out. I knew that they were going to pull some stuff like that because if you watch Homecoming...
Mm-hmm.
When they hack the suit in Homecoming, they flip it inside out. You get
a
and it's basically the exact same thing, but it's gray, not black. But
okay.
The blue and red suit on the inside is gray. The black and red suit on the inside would be black.
It would be black.
So
that makes sense. I didn't catch that.
Sense for that.
Yeah, I just thought that it's a cool concept, but I was like, they totally made this just to sell toys. Like,
yeah, definitely did, but also like it's really good.
Yeah. And then Jamie Foxx's Electro comes in, and like you see that little bit of sand come in. I forgot that Sandman was in the movie, honestly. So I was like, oh wait, that's Electro. That's Electro right there. And I hear someone like behind me just go, oh my god, it's Sandman. I was like, oh shit, that's right. Sandman's in this movie. I totally forgot about that.
I have one
mm-hmm.
complaint. Well, two complaints about the whole movie.
Yeah.
Everything was amazing. I have two complaints.
I think I might know what one of them is.
One is a plot hole that doesn't make sense.
I think I know the plot hole too. What's the second one?
The second one is that they 100% animated Sandman, and I just didn't like that.
Yeah. Do you know the reason why they did that?
Because they couldn't get Thomas Hayden Church to come back.
Yeah, just because
scheduling.
Scheduling.
Fine,
yeah.
But also like, they should have been like, well, then in that case, here, take my money.
Yeah.
They should have spent more money on that because the effects just were not there enough.
Yeah, I agree.
To like, he looks like a walking glob of sand who's shredded. And that, like, I get the concept, like, it's Sandman and stuff, but like in Spider-Man 3, he never presents himself like that once.
Yeah.
So the fact that he just does that kind of bothers me. My biggest issue with the movie is that Electro should not be there, period.
Because he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. Yeah. Oh my god. I didn't even think about that until like he said it at the end too. I was like, yeah, that's right. You don't know who Spider-Man is. But like I was talking about this with my boss.
Says, like,
yeah.
You know, I always thought. I always was hoping you would be black.
You would be black. Yeah.
And like that's cool because that kind of teases a little bit of Miles, and that's great. But also,
he didn't know
when
who he
it comes
was.
to stuff like that, they really, really, really need to like buckle down on shit like that.
Yeah.
Because the whole reason that they're there is because they know who he is. And the whole reason they all disappear is because he has to make sure that nobody knows that Peter Parker exists anymore.
Yeah.
And because he never found out who he was, it makes zero sense for him to be there.
I do actually have a counterpoint to this that someone did present to me, and it's the concept of the multiverse and like the unlimited and infinite number of possibilities. You know what I mean?
So possibly like in a different universe, he knows.
So like think of it like this, right? So you have, how did I explain this before? So you have, like, let's take the Sam Raimi villains, right? You have Green Goblin, you have Alfred Molina, and you have Sandman, right? But then you also eventually get, another Spider-Man from those universes. And so, like, they pull from, like, 4 different timelines where, like, all the timelines happen in, like, the same order, the same timeline, whatever. They're just pulling from different ones. There's 4 different timelines. So they pull Green Goblin from timeline 1, where none of the events of 2, 3 onward happened. And then in a separate timeline, they pull Alfred Molina's Doc Ock in after the events of Spider-Man 1 happened. And then they pull in Sandman from timeline number 3, where both those movies happened, and then Spider-Man 3 also happened, So my idea and concept behind it is that, like, it's still like the Amazing Spider-Man universe where it's like, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and, like, it's still the same dude. It's just like in a number of, like, infinite possibilities where it's like somehow he just found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man without knowing what he looked like.
So I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Which is that this is really, really, really stretching it.
Yeah, it really is. It's like one of those things where it's like you have to explain it.
You want it to make sense so bad.
Yeah.
Because I hate plot holes, but it can make sense. You just have to really stretch the details.
Yeah. We have to stretch it out for it to make sense to us.
So
but they didn't really do a great job of explaining that. So it's
because in the film, it really, like, if you're going based on just being a fan of the movies and understanding what it is and being a fan of Andrew Spider-Man, being a fan of Tobey Spider-Man, it just doesn't make sense because there is never a moment in Amazing Spider-Man 2 where Electro goes, "Oh my God, you're Peter Parker." So there's never that moment. So to really stretch the truth to actually make it make sense, the only possibility that I can think of is in that last... I just watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 with my girlfriend the other day because she had never seen it. Mm-hmm. So we just watched it, and I was thinking about it while we were watching it, was the only possible thing I could think of is that Max met Gwen at Oscorp on his birthday before the electrocution happened.
Yeah.
So there is also a major conversation that happens while Electro is charging up at the power grid. There is a conversation that is happening between Gwen and Peter.
Yeah.
She calls him Peter.
Peter, yeah.
The only assumption, the only reason, and this is again really
stretching it out, yeah,
is if he was just waiting to attack him until after that conversation happened, and he just heard that.
Yeah.
It makes sense if she calls him Peter and he hears that. Great. Max and Peter never met.
Yeah.
He only met Spider-Man, but he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but doesn't know what he looks like.
But doesn't know what he looks like. Yeah.
So it's really stretching it to make it make sense, but it does.
Yeah, but we just have to do what we gotta do. Yeah.
I wish they would have given, like, a little bit of service to the super fans to say, hey, I know this doesn't make sense, but we're gonna write it so that it does make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Instead of having to sit here and be like, hey, we're stretching it really far, like, it would have just been nice to be like, he would have just been like, right before I died, I heard her say your name and I knew, like something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, it would have worked like that.
Yeah. But and then going past that now, so it's just plot holes and we have to explain it in our own way, which sucks, but it's just how it is. It's how we gotta do it.
It still makes sense. You just have to stretch the truth just a little bit to make it. But it can make sense.
Yeah. And I love how Sandman at first is like, all right, Pete, I got your back, like, we're good. And then he, like, sends Electro away and he's like, what the fuck, did you just kill him? And he's like, no. It's like, no, all right, I'm going after you now. And then, like, Sandman builds that distrust because even I was thinking, like, oh yeah, that's right, like, Sandman and Spider-Man are cool, but that it's not really that Spider-Man, so he's not cool with this guy. And then we get Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, who comes in and gives us at least 1.5 million fucking heart attacks in the film. I love how he showed up one time in the full costume, and they're like, all right, here's the costume, here's like one shot of it, and we're never gonna use it again. Like, no more helmet. Yep. It's like everyone was clowning on the helmet for years. We're gonna instantly get rid of it and give him a brand new fucking outfit. And like, oh my god, and he comes in, and like, you can't help but just feel so sorry for Norman Osborn. Like, you think that's it. Like, you think that he destroyed the mask and like that was it. He was done. And they played that so well, and like, he just seems like this like innocent bystander who is just unfortunately just has this like split personality, and he thinks he's over it. And then when they go back to Doctor Strange, that's when Strange mentions, and that's when like Peter mentions, like, hey, like, Green Goblin died. Like, what do you mean he died fighting Spider-Man? And they have that whole explanation of like, yep, like, some of these guys just died fighting Spider-Man. And like, I love how like Strange is like the neutral party who's like, if they die, they die. We gotta send them back. But Spider-Man, like, to his like flaw, is so chaotically good that he's like, no, we have to try. Like, Aunt May told me that we have to try to make these villains, like, good again. Like, we need to try. How do we know if we don't try? But Strange is like, nope, we gotta send them back. And they have that fight scene. And I loved the very subtle detail. I don't know if I feel like people, like, just saw it and they just haven't really been talking about it. But the fact that, like, Doctor Strange, like, you know, Hadokens him out of his body, and like, he's like floating, but he can't get the box because he's moving around because of the spider sense. And there is a very subtle, it's so subtle, I almost missed it. There's like a tingling around the outline of Tom Holland's head right here. And he's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, and he doesn't know why it's happening, but there's like a very subtle, like, you know, like when you play like the Spider-Man games and like someone's about to hit you, there's that like little like tingle that goes around the head. That was on him while that was happening.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it is so subtle because like the whole like thing is distorted, but like he's looking around like this and he starts swimming back. You see the tingling around his head, and it was so subtle, and I didn't see anybody else talk about it, and I was like, that's cool. So I don't know if I just noticed that, or if it was like everyone's like, yeah, he has the spider sense, like, yeah, duh.
I knew like that he was doing that because of the spider sense, like that made sense to me. I did not see visually though that shimmering though.
When you go back and watch it again, it's there. It's so subtle, but it's so cool that they do that. And then Peter wins the fight. Like, he wins the fight by doing math, which is, he's like, you're good at math. You're good at math. You can do this.
It has got to be the most Peter Parker excuse to get out of a trouble.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah.
It is, like, I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, that is the most Peter Parker thing I have ever seen in a Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah.
Like, and he's using how fucking smart he is to get out of a world-ending fight with Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. It's so cool. And also, that whole scene was just visually stunning.
Visually so great.
It's so beautiful.
That probably had to be, like, the best CGI out of the entire movie, too. And they had to. There were so many big CG fights in this film, but I think that one was the best. So they lock Doctor Strange away. He comes back. He's like, oh my god, I kicked Doctor Strange's ass. That was awesome, dude. And then he takes them all back to his apartment so that they can just rehabilitate everybody. And I love that scene because it works. Like, it works on Doc Ock because they're the first one that they do, because he has like the bad attitude, and he figures out like that the tech got fried, and then they fix it. And so they fix Doc Ock. I think, so when they were trying to fix Norman Osborn, like, they actually had, like, the cure. I'm just sort of assuming that the Goblin took control again and messed up the formula, so that way, either it just didn't work at all, it didn't do anything, or it had the reverse effect, which put Norman back in the subconscious and let the Goblin take control.
when it comes to that, Seth and I talked about this after the movie for a hot minute, because I think it was my friend Jesse who was there with us goes, how they made a serum for him, how when he took it did he not get rid of the Goblin? And Seth and I looked at each other and we both kind of knew. He was playing the victim the whole time. I don't think for a moment from the minute he walked in to that apartment.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He was Norman Osborn at all. I think he was the Goblin the whole time. From the minute he met Peter Parker, like every move that he made from the moment he smashed that mask was on purpose as the Goblin to get to that moment. And he mixed that serum. Peter Parker didn't know what was in that serum. He didn't.
Yeah.
Norman made the serum. So I'm telling you, from the minute, as soon as it filled up, Seth looked over at me and he goes, "It's the Goblin serum, but stronger." And I went, "Yep, I know." Because not for a second did I believe that he cured himself. Not for a second. I knew the minute he made that, it was the same color. It was exactly the same color as the original one. It was the exact same method. We both knew it was like, he just made himself more Goblin serum. That dude's gonna go fucking nuts here in a minute.
Yeah.
And it was like, to me, honestly, the second that happened, I went, they're about to have a massive fight in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, guaranteed. I looked at Seth. I was like, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "For what?" I said, "They're about to fight. It's about to be a big deal. It's about to be a big fight." He goes, "No." And then the spider sense thing happened, and I went, "Here it comes. They're gonna fight."
Well, there's also that very subtle line that Norman says, too, when Doc Ock's like, "Are you ready to feel normal again?" And, like, the tone immediately shifts. It was like you could hear it in his voice that he started to turn back into the Goblin. I can't do it, but it was like he had, like, the typical Norman voice. And then it switched to the Goblin voice for that, like, one split second.
To make me feel normal again.
Yeah, like, it was, like, so subtle. And then the best version of the spider sense ever
one
fucking
shot
happens. One shot.
He walks through the whole apartment.
Just sensing it. He has an entire rogues gallery around him, but he's able to figure out the one fucking person that's about to do something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it was just written so well. It was done so well because, like, again, like I said, I didn't believe for a second. Like, the minute Norman Osborn showed up on screen, I did not believe for a second that he was going to be Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
So, like, when he was at the homeless shelter and all that sort of stuff, and he was talking to Aunt May, and Aunt May was like, "He's broken." I was like, "No, he's not.
No, he's fucking not.
Acting. He is acting his way through this.
Yeah, and, like,
he knows what he's doing." And then when the spider sense thing happened, I'm telling you, dead ass, I looked over at Seth and went, "Here we fucking go."
Yep, here we go. And, like, and Aunt May, like, poor Aunt May was, like, she was so good because she thought that they needed to be saved. But, like, in the end, like, Strange, like, it's not even really that Strange was right. It was that Peter was right. Like, he has to send them back. But, like, he doesn't want them to die. But he's like, no, they need to go home. Like, they can't stay here. And May's like, you have this. It's your situation now. You have to deal with it. And, like, fucking that apartment fight. Like, and, like, Goblin basically convinces Electro. And, like, even Electro was sort of, like, on the fence where he was like, yeah, like, this would be kind of cool, but, like, there's this power, there's the Stark arc reactor right there that could just make me stronger, and it's like, he needed that little bit of extra push to just go for it, because then he would have had, like, an entire rogues gallery against him, but now that, like, almost all of them were on the same page, it's like, okay, like, now I'm gonna be able to do this, and Sandman's like, I just want to go home, man, like, I don't want... He didn't really care what happened. Yeah.
I just want to get back to my daughter, which has been his goal the whole fucking time.
Yeah, and I like that because he was like, sand or not sand, I just want to go home. Like, that's just all I want. And, like, even in the final fight, he, like, the first thing he says is, where is the box? Like, I want to go home. Give me the box. So it's not even really that he's teaming up with Electro and the Lizard and everyone else. He's just on his own. He just happens to have, like, a slight alignment with them because they have a very similar goal. Maybe he can send himself back, but not everybody else, But, like, and here's something that I absolutely loved, like, because there were 2 fights with Goblin, right? Both fights with Norman Osborn were the only fights in the entire movie that were real, that were not CGI.
Yeah.
And that, I think, made those fights more impactful and more gut-wrenching. Because you could see, like, the practicality of, like, all of the moves that they're doing. And Willem Dafoe, bless his heart, did all of his own stunts in the movie.
I know.
Like, he had a stunt double in the credits, but I was like, they probably barely used him, and they maybe only used him, like, 1 or 2 times for, like, the more extreme stuff, but that's it.
If you watch the villain's interview, he says straight up, he said, I told them I wasn't going to do the movie unless I could do my own stunts.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
To be honest, I was like, you go, Willem. You go.
Oh, no, me too.
I'm so proud of you, baby.
Yeah, and, like, dude, like, fucking, just the fact that, like, Tom Holland is, like, he is so royally fucked. And you could see it in his face. He's like, I'm fucking screwed. When he, like, you know, gets on top of him and starts beating the shit out of him in that hallway, and all Goblin does is just laugh at him. You could see it in Tom's face. He's like, oh shit. I don't know what to do in this scenario. Because it's like, in the entire, like, home trilogy / like, all the villains that Spider-Man has fought, he hasn't fought anyone like Green Goblin, you know? Because, like, you had the Vulture, right? Who was sort of, like, in on his own sort of quest where he was like, you know, I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to, because you're just being a pain in my ass. Whereas Mysterio...
Yeah, it's more like...
Well, Mysterio was a bit more selfish, but he still didn't really want to kill Peter Parker, but he was like, you know what, you're just being a pain in my side, so, like, I'm gonna have to kill you because you're just getting in my way. But Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin not only wants to kill him, but he enjoys what he is doing. So he is like the true psychotic sociopath, and Peter hasn't had to deal with that before. So he understandably doesn't know what to do. And poor dude, like he's already taking the smoke from Green Goblin, but like he gets thrown outside. He's like crawling on top of the building. He sees J. Jonah Jameson, who's like, "Oh yeah, you're a piece of shit. I got you." And then in that split second, the Lizard out of nowhere comes in. He's like, "Yeah, you're a fucking asshole, Spider-Man." Yeets him back inside. Like,
yeah,
he got fucking destroyed. It
was really good. I think that like. The fights with Green Goblin are just intense in that movie because if you really think about it, Green Goblin is the main villain of the movie.
He is. He really is. He is
the main Spider-Man fights all of them. Yeah, great. Like this super big Green Goblin is the antagonist of the movie.
Yeah, like everyone else is a supporting antagonist. Yeah.
Yeah. But even still, like Sandman and Electro and Lizard and like all that, like all of them sort of have a little bit of like, I don't want to be doing this. I just want to go home. Whereas Green Goblin is like, I don't give a shit where I am. We could do whatever the fuck you want to do. I just want to kill Spider-Man.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's like, and it doesn't matter who he is. He just wants to fight him. I think it's just Green Goblin is like he's the best villain in the whole movie.
Yeah.
He's insane. Now, the fight with Doc Ock is
I think that actually the Green Goblin in this movie is probably the best Spider-Man villain, period, out of all of the movies, I feel.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, because you look at how he, in Spider-Man 1, like the original Spider-Man, he's super conflicted. And he doesn't want to kill Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just dies by accident, well, by his own, whatever.
Yeah, by his own hand, yeah.
Whereas in this movie, like, I'm telling you, I understand the thought that, like, Norman was there and he was, like, ready to go back, and then he just got put in the subconscious. I don't believe it for a second. The second he showed up there, he was the Green Goblin the whole time.
The whole way through.
He made that serum, and he goes, I'm going to make this stronger because I'm going to fucking murk you, Spider-Man.
Well, actually, I just came to this realization because that, like, it makes sense, too, because you remember in the first Spider-Man film where, like, Maguire is beating the shit out of him, and he's like, wait, stop, it's me, and he, like, acts like Norman Osborn, but even with that voice, like, even with that, like, personality, he's still acting, well, yeah, because, like, he, like, even though he's talking as Norman Osborn, he, like, hits the thing on his arm to get the glider, so it really is still the Goblin in control, even though to us it looks like Norman Osborn is back. So like that theory, it's and then it's so fucking good, man. Oh my god. And then the next, like, you know, Green Goblin suplexes Spider-Man down every single floor of the apartment, and oh my god, and like I forgot how much this fucking pained me, but like he's like choking him, he's like stomping on him, like he is just making Spider-Man eat fucking dirt, literally. And this is something that my boss actually pointed out, but like Aunt May comes in and she's like, you know, hits him with the serum, it doesn't work. She pulls down like a wrench or something, which is just kind of like, you know, obviously it's like an object, but my boss actually said, he's like, you know, that kind of looked like Thor's hammer a bit, and like the way that she stood just looked like it had like a hammer outline. So he was sort of like, does that mean that she's worthy? Like they're like subconsciously saying that like she might be worthy. And I was like, that's cool. I didn't mention that because like really cool. I could see it, yeah. And then, so for some reason, she doesn't die when she gets fucking smacked with the glider on the side.
Yeah, she gets fucking.
Oh my god! I was like, oh, that's it. She's dead. Like
I said, this is gonna be a Gwen situation. He's gonna go over to her and she's gonna be dead. I was like, we are not gonna get another minute with her. She's just dead.
She is gone. Then
hard up, and they brought it to space. And they pissed on it and then threw it back down.
Oh my god!
The Earth, and then it exploded.
Yep, and then
they murdered the shit out of Aunt May.
What I realized is that, and I did not mean to cut you off, but like the bomb did not kill her. The glider did, because she gets up and like she's still bleeding from this side right here, which is where she got hit. But, like, it's funny because it's, like, you know, obviously, like, Norman comes back up, which, by the way, like, you know, he had, like, his, like, you know, homeless man outfit on with, like, the purple hoodie, which was, like, a good nod to, like, the, you know, the comics and, like, how his original costume was. But then by the time the fight ends, it's completely destroyed, and now he has, like, the purple hoodie with, like, it's a more traditional Goblin outfit, which is fucking awesome. So he throws the bomb, and then Peter, like an idiot, tries to catch it, and I'll go into why I said idiot in a second, just because it's like shouldn't have said that. It's like more inexperienced, but so I realized the other day, right? So you remember in what was it, in Spider-Man 3 where Maguire and Harry Osborn are fighting, and then Harry throws the bomb and like Maguire learns from his mistakes and actually webs it back at him. I saw that scene after I saw the movie, and I thought to myself, why the fuck didn't Tom Holland do that? And I was like, it's because he doesn't know. Because he doesn't have that experience, but Maguire had that experience to know to web it and throw it back.
So he didn't have to, you know, he knows how to do it again, but with this one, Tom Holland has no idea. And
yeah.
And I think it's just like, so here we are. Let's pause.
Yeah.
We are currently at 3 predictions that have come that we were right about.
Yeah.
Which is
Daredevil,
Matt Murdock, the Inside Out suit.
Doc Ock's nanotech being like,
nanotech.
And so then Aunt May fucking dies. There's number 4.
But I didn't predict that.
I did.
I thought I was wrong and you were right, and I didn't want to believe you because I thought Happy was gonna die.
Oh my god, and Happy is still alive and well.
Fucked me up, dude. God. I grabbed onto my girlfriend's hands and I just burst into tears. And
I did too, man.
She whispered to me, she's like, "It's okay."
Like, you're like, no, it's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. Dude,
okay.
fucking.
Okay.
Oh my god, dude, fucking. Like, I went into the theater and I was like, Aunt May's totally gonna die. Green Goblin's gonna kill her. And like when she like stood up and she was like, yeah, I'm fine, Peter. I wasn't like, I was wrong. She's still alive. I was like, thank God she is alive. Holy shit. Yeah, I was holding my. From the moment that like Goblin like kicked him into the stairs and he fell down, all the way up until that scene, I held my breath and I just, oh my god. Like I was like, again, adrenaline rush. I was like, Jesus. I'm so glad that scene is over. But
she gets hit by the glider, and I was like, she's dead. And then she stood up and she goes, I'm fine. And I'm like, oh wow, they're really gonna pull. Like I literally I breathed a sigh of relief and went, wow, okay, I got worked up over nothing. Like I really thought they were gonna
kill her
longer, and then they fucking took my heart and they drilled a hole in it.
Oh my god, dude, I fucking could not. And like just the fact that Peter had to like hold his aunt in his arms and say like, it's okay, you're fine, we're gonna get help, knowing that she's gonna die. And then she fucking died. And like the fact that he kept saying over and over, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, this is my fault, and obviously and I've been drilling on this for years. I'm like, why the fuck have they not said the "with great power comes great responsibility" line? Like it hadn't even been referenced like one time, but Aunt May is the one who says it. Because they strongly imply now that Uncle Ben either just never existed in this universe, or he just wasn't as important to Peter. So I'm imagining that either like Aunt May like never got married or something, or something else happened to Uncle Ben that wasn't Peter's fault.
Uncle Ben exists. He has to. The only reason I say that is because in Far From Home, he closes the latch.
Oh, he has the briefcase. Briefcase. Yeah. Okay.
So Ben exists, and I think very well could be the same thing. I just don't think he died because of Peter.
Yes.
He may have just died. I mean, I definitely think he died, just in a different way.
Yeah, but not because of Peter.
But I think that Aunt May saying it is just here's my opinion. So I wanna hold on this line and use it when we get to a specific scene where they talk about with great power comes great responsibility. Yes. Because I want to wait to get to that so that I can share my true opinion on the whole scene as a whole and why I think they say it like that.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat too. So
when she said it, I was just like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then she said it, and when she said it, I was like,
you were like, yep, she's dead.
Here she goes.
Dude,
I was like, oh, you got my heart. She's alive. Thank you for saving me. With great power comes great responsibility.
And you're like, fuck. my theater applauded when she said it. Like, You're like, they're like, they said the thing. They finally fucking said the thing, and then she dies. And God bless J.K. Simmons, but I fucking hated him in this movie.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to.
Oh my god, I know. He's like I love to hate this character, but Jesus Christ. At that moment afterwards where he's talking about that, I was like, JJ, shut the fuck up. Like, please just let this kid just grieve in peace. And he just couldn't fucking do that, and that's why we hate him. And that's why we love to hate him. But immediately after that, Ned finds out that he has magic powers, and he's able to open a portal. And once they said...
Doctor Strange magic now.
Yeah, Doctor Strange magic now. And once he said, find Peter Parker, I was like, this is it. This is right here. And I'm not even joking, like, the portal opened, I saw the big white eyes.
And I went...
No fucking way.
And like, the second the portal opened, I went, holy fuck, it's him. And
your girlfriend was like, who?
She goes, who? I said, that's Peter Parker. And she goes, well, yeah. I was like,
no, you don't understand.
I said, you don't get it. And she was like, well, it's Spider-Man. I get it. I was like, honey, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
And she's sitting there, and like she like knows that like Andrew Garfield is Spider-Man. She knows that Tobey Maguire.
But she wasn't expecting it at all.
No, I think she knew that was gonna be him, but I don't think like she really understood the impact of it being him.
Yeah.
And so when the portal opened up, she goes, yeah, it's one of them. And I was like, no, it's not just one of them. No,
it's not just one of them. It's fucking Peter Parker. It is goddamn Andrew Garfield. Oh. And dude, I cannot... Oh my god, dude.
When he jumped through
My fucking boy, Andrew Garfield.
Oh my god, it was so good. And so the thing was
God.
is that, and then he puts up his hand. He goes, "Hey, it's okay. I'm a nice guy." And you see that web shooter, and it's
yes,
so good. And he's like,
and then
okay.
and then he rips off the mask.
And that was the moment.
Everyone blew up.
The whole theater went nuts.
This was the only time where he's fucking...
He jumped through the portal and we all went, yeah! And then he took the mask off, we're like, oh!
Holy shit! Dude,
It's not real until you see his face.
Oh, absolutely. I did not, like, really, like, pop off at all during the theater. Like, I was like... You know, Matt Murdock showed up, I was like, yeah, it's Matt Murdock. Like, yeah, that was good. There's Alfred Molina. There's Willem Dafoe. When he showed up, I literally yelled, my boy Andrew Garfield is back! And, like, Amanda was like, AJ, shut up. And I was like, no, I will not shut up. My boy Andrew Garfield is back. He is so my boy.
Oh, I fucking love it.
Oh, I fucking loved it.
Good. Like,
dude, I don't think I could see... like when the movie comes out on like HD and everything, it's gonna be so weird for me to like watch him rip his mask off and not have like somebody applauding behind me because it's such a big fucking deal.
It was by far, it had to have been one of the greatest cinema moments that I've ever experienced.
Me too.
And I honestly, I cannot think of a moment that has beaten that because. So, well, let's go on a little bit farther, and then we'll talk about it. So he rips his mask off, and MJ and Ned are like, "Who the fuck are you?" And so she picks up some bread off the table, and throws it at him. He's like, "Why'd you do that, Spider-Man?
Why'd you do that?" He's like, "I wanted to see if you had the tingle thing. I have the tingle thing, but just not for bread."
And then she's like, "You're not Spider-Man." He's like, "Really?" Dick.
And it's such like it's such a Peter Parker thing to do too. He's like, you know,
but it's not Peter Parker. It's Andrew's.
It's Andrew's Peter Parker, exactly. Only, yeah, yeah. And he's like, you know, you're a completely mistrusting person, and I just respect that. So here you go. And she's like, crawl around. Crawl around? No, I'm not doing that. Why do I need to do that? Yeah, this is plenty. Do it! Throws the bread at him, and like he has like such like a, you gotta be fucking kidding me, I'm doing this. Like when Ned is like, can you get the cobweb right there? Just because he's like, yeah, why the fuck do I gotta whatever? Just crawls on the ceiling, gets it. He's like, are we good?
It was a nice balance because he's not the dopey Peter Parker that everybody's used to.
Yeah, he's like the cool Peter Parker.
And he goes, I'm Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But he's just like cool about it, and then like
I don't carry an ID with me, you know. It's just
he's you know, and she says, you know, I just want to see if you have the tingle thing, and like Tobey or Tom would be like, don't call it that. Why do you gotta call it that? Whereas
he's like, I have the tingle thing.
I know. He's like, I've got it, and then they're like crawl around this thing. He goes, no, this is enough because he's just his Peter Parker is just so. He's not dopey and nerdy. He's like cool and like an outcast and just doesn't really like he doesn't care. He knows his place and understands that like all right, you got me. I'm Spider-Man. Like, can we move on now? It's not
Yeah, exactly. He's very nonchalant.
And but it works for him because he's different. It's a nice balance because he's different than Tom and Tobey who are
Tom and Tobey, yeah.
Dopey.
Yeah, and even like when they're saying like, okay, like this is Spider-Man, but he's not our Spider-Man. We need the real Spider-Man. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm not the real Spider-Man. Whatever, like, whatever. And then they open up the portal again, and we get
some random guy walks out.
Yeah, and some random guy. We have no idea who he is. He's a cool youth pastor.
Yeah.
God damn it! It was so good. Tobey Maguire is back.
I must tell you, I was so excited, but I don't. So, my theater reacted harder to Andrew than they did to Tobey.
Me too.
When Andrew walked through, the room went nuts, and then Tobey walked through, and it went nuts again. Like, two biggest applauses of the entire movie were when they walked in. But when Tobey walked in, he did not get as big of an applause as Andrew did.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why is because, like, once Andrew showed up, it's like, we all know that Tobey is coming in, but the way that they revealed Andrew was brilliant. You know, he came in with the Spider-Man costume, like the full suit on, and like, you know, and like you said, it's not real until you see his face, you know? And like somebody actually mentioned, and I was like watching it a second time just to sort of like try to come in with like a more fresh set of eyes, and like obviously like it's all over TikTok. I honestly think that when he shows up, he's CGI. I think that it's when he's like going through the portal, I'm like 90% certain that, yeah, so like when he's in like the full Spider-Man suit and he like comes through the portal,
that's 100% CGI.
Yeah, it's 100% CGI. So like, you know, not to say that like they weren't gonna do this, but it's like it's not real until you see the dude's face. Because like, imagine if they went the entire rest of the movie with just their masks on and it was like just the voice. You know, like it wouldn't be the same, right? Or even take it like a step further. It's like, you know, what if they had like, let's say like I'm just pulling something out of my ass right now, like Yuri Lowenthal's Spider-Man come in, right? Just for the sake of argument. If he's just a CGI dude the whole time, it doesn't feel real. But like the second that Garfield pulled off the mask and it's like, it's Andrew Garfield, it is him. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it more impactful. So like, seeing Tobey walk in and he is just sort of like dressed casually, like that's how he would dress, you know? And like he has the Spider-Man suit underneath. And it's like, it makes perfect sense for his character, but I feel like the combination of like, you know, we just had the Andrew reveal, obviously Maguire is going to show up, and it was a less like impactful reveal. Just sort of, I just feel like that's just what it was. And I think that Andrew Garfield honestly kind of stole the show from that point onward. Like, I think that this movie had like a secondary purpose of redeeming Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Because obviously people were hating on the Amazing Spider-Man movies for years. And even I'm one to admit, like, I like both of those movies, and like I came to peace with Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I fucking adore and love that movie so goddamn much. But I was really thinking about it the other day when I was doing like a tier list, and I was like, I cannot in good conscience put this above like at least like half of the other movies that I had, because I love every single scene that's in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love them. But as a whole, the movie just doesn't work. And Andrew as Spider-Man is probably my favorite portrayal of Spider-Man. But the movies were just bad. And because the movies were bad, people don't like him / the movies, you know?
See, I wholeheartedly disagree. I think that... Because me and Alyssa watched them.
Yeah.
Both, because she's seen all the Tobey Maguire, she's seen all the Tom Holland movies, and then we saw No Way Home, and she had never seen the Andrew Garfield movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I was like, well, we have to watch them so that you understand the context of why he is so broken.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield is broken.
He is a broken Spider-Man.
Broken Spider-Man. Like, destroyed. He has nothing good for him in this movie at all until the end.
Yeah.
So... And I say, you have to understand the context, because she's like, he's so fucking sad. I'm like, you
There's a reason why he's so sad.
And if you
There's a reason why he's the sad Spider-Man.
We rewatched them, and she said to me, I don't understand why anybody hates those movies at all. I think, don't get me wrong, Dane DeHaan, not the greatest actor in the world. But in my opinion, I think the writing for Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think it's great. Mm-hmm. It's a fun comic book movie that shows you Peter Parker in a different way that nobody's expecting. He's got a beautiful blossoming relationship with his girlfriend, which is very realistic to relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's very realistic. And also, Andrew Garfield's acting in the
is so fucking good.
It's natural, and I'm a big like fan of very, very good natural acting. He is so nonchalant in his delivery of his lines that I feel like it's like he stutters over certain lines, and he says things and he repeats himself a couple times, and it's stuff that like in conversation would naturally happen. They're just...
Yeah, I agree.
It's so well done. And also the visual effects, like the CGI Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 2,
it's so fucking good. It's the best. CGI, I agree.
It is the best CGI Spider-Man out of any of the Spider-Man movies. Is the CGI for Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, even these new movies, they don't match the CGI of the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
These new movies, the CGI on Tom Holland is fucking horrible.
On all of them, it's horrible.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. I see him swinging, and I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking Spider-Man. But like the CGI on him, they try too hard to do the CGI. Because like at the end of Far From Home, when he's like, what the fuck, the reactive eyes, he looks fake. He looks fake to me.
Yeah.
However, it does have good moments, like Far From Home when he like does the Peter Tingle thing and he like beats up all the drones in the tunnel and he gets to Mysterio. Like that's pretty good. You know, it has good moments. But like Amazing Spider-Man 2 CGI is so much better because the suit looks real. The suit for the new movies does not look real ever.
Yes.
Amazing Spider-Man looks fucking real in every shot, and it's so good. It's just so well done.
Yeah.
And then also when Peter's walking through the streets in Amazing Spider-Man, it's Andrew in a Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
Whereas in these movies, if Tom Holland's walking down the street, they CGI over him. And I don't understand why, because there are pictures of Tom Holland in the Spider-Man suit, and it looks so good, realistic.
And then in the movie, it doesn't look as good because they CG it.
What happened? He looks
so good
in the pictures, and he doesn't look good here, which is fine. But like in
I actually did notice something about this too. Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
So, they actually made the Far From Home suit, right? Like that suit is real. But when he's in, I'm gonna call it like the integrated suit, just because that's what it's called in like the Spider-Man like PS5 game. That's like the one where he has like the Stark tech on it. The Stark tech is CGI, but the Far From Home suit is real. And there's a leaked picture I saw afterwards where it's Garfield, Maguire, and Holland. They're all standing right next to each other. He's wearing the Far From Home suit, not the integrated suit. So like,
my feeling is that they shot all of that stuff and then added which, this is just my personal opinion, but the black and red Far From Home suit is by far the best Spider-Man suit in existence. That's just my opinion. I think it is perfect in every way. I think it's modern, it's sleek, I like it. Just my opinion.
Do I need to put on my Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit right now, Julian? Do I need to put this?
No, hear me out. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is my second favorite.
Yeah, I do. I see what you're talking about, though. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of modern. Like my room is modern, and I'm a big fan of. Also, I think the Stark suit, the blue and red. I'm like, that suit's cool, but it's not as cool as Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I hate the blue.
Yeah, I think the black works.
Blue, and
I will say,
I was like, he looks like a bad motherfucker now.
Yeah, the Far From Home suit grew on me. It's to the point where I don't like the Stark suit and like the homemade suit. Like,
I don't like it that much.
I see what you're talking about.
It's pretty good, but
yeah, I see what you're talking about though, where the Far From Home suit is like better now. But my personal bias, I'm like Amazing Spider-Man 2 is still my favorite one.
I mean, but also you have to think about that movie. It looks real. It looks awesome.
Yeah. So going back to the scene where they're in Ned's grandma's house and like Maguire
just went off on a tangent.
Yeah, totally. But Maguire and Garfield look at each other. Maguire's like, "Wait, that's not your friend." And like what's gonna happen. They're like, "Oh shit, they're about to throw. They're gonna throw down." So like,
and Tobey beats Andrew because he just does.
I forgot who did it first. I think Garfield shot first. And then Maguire did, and they did their flips, and then Tobey comes back, hits Garfield's web shooter, so he can't shoot the web anymore, and he's like, "Okay, you got me." I'm fucked now. So
I think Tobey goes first, because it's Tobey, then Andrew, then flip, then Tobey again.
I thought it was the way that they cut it. It was Andrew, Tobey, Andrew side flip, Tobey back flip, and then they cut back to Garfield landing, Tobey did the web thing again, and then that's when I caught him. I think that's how the sequence goes.
Either way, it is awesome.
Yeah, but I will say though, so like as somebody who pays attention to like the choreography and stuff, like I noticed this the very first time. I loved how the way that they reacted to their flips was in character for how they fight. So Garfield is a more stylish fighter, and he's a bit more like showy, so he does a side flip over the counter, which is just a very flashy move. But Garfield is more but Maguire is more traditional, and he's more like probably like basic is the word that I want to use, because he's more of a fan of like the practical, like backflip, front flip, that sort of thing. So Maguire actually does a running backflip and kicks off the ceiling to land faster. And that's why he's able to beat Andrew, because Andrew was showing off, but I keep saying Garfield instead of Maguire, but Maguire is more effective because he does the running flip. And it's like a very subtle thing that I paid attention to that, because that's just I am with the choreography, and it's like that was just a really subtle thing that just sort of showed their characters acting in character. Because like Garfield,
awesome.
In The Amazing Spider-Man 1, Garfield does I think like 3 side flips, and that's just how he is, but Maguire always does front flips, back flips. He's a more traditional like gymnast essentially, whereas Garfield is more like a martial arts tricker, like I am essentially. So they they're trying to figure out where Tom Holland is, and they say like, where's the spot that you go to like relax, and what was it? Garfield said Empire State, but Maguire said Chrysler. Right? Mm-hmm. So I actually realized this after the fact, but the Chrysler building is where Maguire went after Uncle Ben died. No, yeah, Maguire. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He went to the Chrysler building after Uncle Ben died. Mm-hmm. And then instead of arguing with Garfield about like, because Garfield's like, it's a better view, Maguire, instead of arguing, he was like, it is a pretty sweet view. Yeah, like being very passive, and I like that. So they go to the high school. Tom Holland is just still broken and busted, and Zendaya and Ned are like, hey, like, you have some other visitors, and he is admittedly very hostile towards them, but they try to help him, and Tom doesn't want any of it. And like, this actually kind of broke my heart too. A lot of things in this movie broke my heart, but this was just one of them, because it was very, very relatable, where Garfield was like, I think I know what you're going through, man. And Tom's like, don't you fucking say that. Like, don't you fucking say that to me. And he's like, okay, I get it. I was the same way, so I'm just going to let you be you right now. Be angry, okay. And, like, you can see the pain in his face where he's like, I want to help him, but this is how I help him, by not saying anything right now, waiting for the right moment. And they go through their... basically what happened after their movies and their tragedy, like obviously Tom Holland's Aunt May died, and then they relate to him with Uncle Ben, and then Garfield relates to him with Gwen and his like what happened after the fact, which is something that I remember we had mentioned, like we were gonna like mention more about that in that conversation. So what did you think about that?
Yes, so I think that the reason that they saved that line, in this universe, I mean, Uncle Ben just really isn't super impactful. But my guess, because they do talk about Uncle Ben a lot, and it kind of made me think, obviously Ben is in the Tom Holland universe because of the BFP on the suitcase, but they never really mention him. But I kind of thought, what if Uncle Ben does die in this universe, and he said it to May and said, if Peter ever needs to know this, you need to tell him. So it's kind of Uncle Ben is always there. But and then they just talk about it, and he says, how do you know that? And he said,
that's what Uncle Ben said the day he died.
And they all have that moment of realization that that's like the last thing that they ever heard from
Ben,
their people. It's the last thing she said to Tom Holland. It's the last thing that they said to Maguire. It's the last thing that he said to Garfield. It's with great power comes great responsibility is the last thing that Spider-Man hears before losing the biggest emotional support in his life.
Yeah, and this is when we realize that this is actually Tom Holland's real origin story, and not just like getting bit by the spider and then that was it. Like, this is the moment where he finally becomes Spider-Man. And he grows out of like Iron Boy Jr.
Yeah, Spider-Boy, like whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, we've got a couple Spider-Man movies. Okay, he's cool. Now he's like, I have nothing. He's got nothing left.
And I love how... So Tobey says that, like, he hunted down Uncle Ben's killer, and he's like, and when he died, he didn't even necessarily say that like he killed him. He was like, when he died, because I didn't kill him. Like it took me a very long time to get over that, and I'm assuming he's talking about the events that happened in Spider-Man 3 because it comes back, and then by the end of the third movie, he's officially made peace with it, you know. But it's what Garfield was saying about Gwen that really, really struck a chord with me on a very, very personal level.
This movie is just so fucking good. Like,
it really is, man.
I
do gotta say this though, because it's like, out of all of the Spider-Men, I feel like Andrew Garfield, to me, is like the most inspirational. You know, like
100%.
Like he inspired people not only just like in his own movies, like with like the kid and like the kid dressed up as like the Spider-Man costume in the end, but like he personally inspired me in like a very rough time of my life, and that's sort of what the character meant to Andrew Garfield as well. Like Spider-Man inspired Andrew Garfield through like his tough times too. And, like, as you know, like, I do, like, my Spider-Man birthday parties and everything, and, like, I have that suit. And there's a reason why I'm, like, always so attached to that Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, because it's, like, I wanted to be inspired. I basically wanted to, like, inspire people the way that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man inspired me during those rough times, you know? And hearing him tell his story about how he lost Gwen, he's like, I tried to carry on as, like, my friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but I got bitter, and I stopped pulling my punches, and I got rageful, and I don't want you to be like me. I was like, motherfucker. I was like, God damn it, because, like, I wanted to be like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and it was like, just hearing those words come out of his mouth, I was like, dude, I'm fucking tearing up just thinking about it right now. It's like, you inspired me so much, and hearing you say those words on this screen right now, it fucking broke me. Like, I actually, like, I was sobbing from the point where, like, May died all the way up until, like, they get to the laboratory, and then I was fine for a minute. But it was, like, right there that I literally, like, I just, like, curled up into a ball, and I just started bawling. Because that just meant so much to me.
He says, Andrew Garfield, like I said, is the most relatable Spider-Man. Everything that he goes through is very real to what people actually go through. And he says, I got bitter, and I tried to carry on, and I couldn't do it. And it's, but he said that, like, no matter what, he tried to do it anyway. But he said that, like, he said a very human thing, which is that he let it get the best of him, and he let it, consume him, and he got bitter, and he got rageful, and he got super angry, and he couldn't carry on, and it pissed him off, and it made him frustrated. I don't want you to end up like me. And, like, it's almost like a parent saying that, because every parent in the world has always said, don't end up like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of think, like, he says that, and then Tom's like, there's sort of a consoling feeling there where you're just like, but you are good. You are enough, Andrew Garfield. You are enough. I promise. Sweet boy, you are more than enough.
So after this, they go into the laboratory, and, like, they try to, cure all of the villains. Oh, yeah. And, like, I noticed this the second time around, but Tom Holland's Peter Parker couldn't even say Norman Osborn's name. He was like, here's Marco's, here's Connor's, here's Electro's, and he gets to Norman Osborn, he's like, here's... And he just sets it down. He can't even say his name. It was, like, such a subtle thing. And, like, Maguire's like, we gotta cure them all. Like, all of them. No exceptions. And Garfield does such a good fucking idea. Like, he's such a good Peter Parker and such a good presence. Like, he's so charismatic, even in this scene with, like, the lab coat and the gloves, and he's just having a fucking blast. He's like, I get to be in this costume again. I'm just having a fucking ball, man. And like,
I think like the minute they called him about this, I guarantee you immediately was like, all right, let's fucking go.
Let's do this. He's like, he's like, yep, I'm not even, he's like, yep, stop right there. I'm in. I'm fucking doing this. Like, schedule is cleared. I don't give a fuck. I'm coming back as Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm shooting 8 movies in a row? Sorry, cancel all of them. I'm gonna be Spider-Man again.
I'm gonna be Spider-Man again. And like, oh my god, and they go through the entire scene, they're all just talking to each other. They do the fucking meme where they're all pointing at each other, because it had to happen one time where Ned was like, hey, Peter, and they're like, yeah, Peter Parker. We're all still Peter Parker, man. Like, which one are you talking about? That was great.
Also,
and then...
that little moment where he's like, my best friend betrayed me, and I
yeah.
and Ned's just like...
And then you could even see, like, Garfield in the background was just like, yeah, kinda. That's just what happens, you know? Like, my best friend turned evil too, and he tried to kill me, and then he killed my girlfriend. So it's like, yeah, best friends suck, man.
Yeah.
Like, just little moments like that. They like reload the web cartridges, and then of course they had to go. They had to do it. They're like, yeah, like, what's that? This is my web cartridges for my web fluid. Why? And he just does it, and they're like, whoa, holy shit! How did you do that?
It's like, you can't do that, huh? You know.
It's like, how the and even Garfield just like, how the fuck does that even work, dude? Like, how did you do that? And like, just the chemistry and the banter between all of them was so great. And like,
yeah.
even like on the bridge, they're just talking about like the web fluid, and they're like, so like, I don't mean to like pry, but like, how does it work? And he's like, well, I don't know. It's just like breathing, you know? You don't breathe. You can't control how you breathe, right? And they talk about like the web block, which, again, part of the leaks was that like Andrew Garfield was like standing on like the bridge right there, right? And then like, yeah, he has his arm like this, and he's like, you had a web block? Yeah. And like everyone was thinking that he was saying like, you have web blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, but it's not web blood, it's web block. Yeah, but it was the exact same scene. I was looking out for it. I'm like, I'm waiting for it to pop up. I'm like, I see it right there. I was like, I see it right there. There's the bar. He puts his hand on the bar right there. I'm like, say it. Fucking say it, man. And then he said it, and I was like, it was web block, not web blood.
Yeah.
Goddamn internet leaks, crazy.
It
was
then awesome. I mean,
he helps him out with Tobey Maguire's back problems.
Oh, that was amazing.
It's like, oh, my back, it's just stiff from all the swinging. Like, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire dressed as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, doing the fucking back thing, just...
Yeah.
God damn it.
He goes, that was it. That was it. And Tobey Maguire
that was it, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks. He's like, I've always wanted brothers. You know, it's like, and it's like Maguire is like the seasoned veteran who like isn't necessarily like shell shocked that like 2 other Spider-Men are here. And then Garfield is just having a field day. He's like, the multiverse is real. There are 2 other Spider-Men right here. I'm just here having a fucking time. I could be doing this for free right now, for Christ's sake. And then like, and Holland's like, hey, like, what are some of the coolest, like, villains that you guys have fought? And it's like, oh, I fought an alien with, like, black goo once. And then it caused me to dance and, like, do the fucking pelvic thrusts and shit. And, you know, meme up, like, meme city. And Holland's like, yeah, I fought an alien too, but he was purple and it was in space. And he's like, I'm still surprised that you fought a villain in space? I want to go to space. And Garfield is admittedly like, dude, I am so lame. I fought a guy in like a rhinoceros suit, you know? And then like again with like the sadness and the pessimism, like Maguire's like, wait, what is this like pessimistic talk? Like, no, you are amazing. You are an amazing Spider-Man. In fact, you are an amazing Spider-Man too, right?
Yeah.
The villains all start showing up.
I want you to say it. And he's like, no. I needed to hear that. Well, can you say it, please? It's like,
please, for the audience. Everyone starts coming in.
And he goes, no. I did need to hear that, though. Thank you. Well, you are amazing. And Tobey Maguire, I think a lot of, like you said, this movie was to confirm that Andrew Garfield is pretty fucking awesome. And they went so far out of their way to get the OG, Tobey Maguire,
to say that he was a good Spider-Man.
Hey, fuckers, this guy was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Give him love and give him support because he's amazing. He's the amazing Spider-Man. And, like, the fact that they wrote that in as sort of, like, a redemption, but also, like, Tobey kind of saying, here you go. Here you go, my friend. Hats off to you. You did a great job, and I'm sad that everybody was mean to you.
Yeah.
You know?
All the villains start showing up, and, like, everyone is doing their Spider-Man thing, And just, again, Garfield fucking stealing the show with the quips. He goes up to Electro's like, hey, Max, I missed you, man. And just, like, does the whole, like, woo thing that he does. It was just, oh my god, it was just so great to see. And, like, even Maguire, like, he had, like, one quip, and that was it. Like, he said something about, like, I think it was, like, cup check or something.
Yeah.
Which just feels like a very, like, 90s thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, like, in line with his character. But that was literally the only quip that he had throughout, like, the whole thing.
They focused very heavily on Tom and Andrew, not really a lot of Tobey.
Yeah, but I think, like, Tobey was more, like, the silent, like, you know, heroic hero who, like, occasionally had the quips, you know? But, like, Tom and Andrew, like, have the shit talk. So it just made sense with their characters. And, like, you know, they admittedly, like, get their asses handed to them. And I love how, like, you know, even with 3 Spider-Men, like, it would kind of be a problem because, like, their webs are getting in the way. They're webbing each other in the face, you know? And, like, they even group up in their team huddle. And, like, Garfield's like, we fucking suck. Like, what is going on right now? I haven't...
I don't know how to work as a team. Yeah, me either. I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers? That's great! What is that? It's like, you don't have the Avengers. Is that a band? Are you in a band? And then they do the fucking point thing again, like, in that scene, too. They're all pointing at each other. And I also love how, like, oh my god, like, they come in and, like...
Holland teaches them how to work as a team.
Yeah.
I love
that. But, like, even Garfield comes in and he, like, refers to Tobey as Peter 2, and he's like, wait... I'm not Peter 2, you're Peter 2. And, like, they all think they're Peter 1, and then Tom Holland comes and he's like, hey, no, shut up, everyone, listen to Peter 1. And they all look at him, and they're like, all right, Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, and Peter 3!
It was so funny.
It's like, wait. I love you guys. It's just so fucking good.
And they're just, thank you.
Thank you. And then the theater erupting again when all 3 Spider-Men are swinging at the same time. Yep, just so fucking good. And then, of course, the wide shot with all of the villains, and then it's just Tom Holland diving by himself. Of course, Andrew and Maguire were in there doing shit. And again, like, I love how their style of swinging and their style of fighting just fits so perfectly with their characters, and they didn't just have 3 Spider-Men on screen who all, like, behaved the same. Like, Maguire's swings were, like, very, like, heroic, and, like, he had, like, a very, like, you know, old-fashioned style and demeanor. Again, Garfield is just the more stylish swinger, and, like, he just shows off and shit. And then Tom Holland is a little bit more, like, young and inexperienced, like, not as experienced as these guys, but, like, he still has his own, like, younger style, you know? Yeah. And even, like, in that scene where they're all, like, diving towards each other, like, Tom Holland is doing basically, like, a dive roll towards Electro. Maguire does that, like, heroic, like, spider arms back thing that he does. And then Garfield does a fucking Webster front flip and just smacks Lizard in the face.
No. That's Tobey at the bottom. Tobey fights Lizard, and Andrew hits Electro.
Wait, no, it's not.
Yes, it is. Because if you watch the shot where they all land, where it's all 3 of them, so if you're looking at it, Tom's in the middle, Andrew's on the right, and Tobey's on the left.
Yeah, but they switched it when they went back. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I could have sworn
because it's Tobey Maguire does a front flip and he's the one that kicks Lizard in the face.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that then.
Tobey.
Wait, but doesn't Garfield fight the Lizard right after that though?
No. Immediately after that is the moment where he's like, Max, I missed you. They have that.
No, the Max thing was right at the beginning.
Or no, I don't know, but I can guarantee you it was Tobey Maguire that kicked him.
Okay, I'm gonna double. I think I'm right, but I will double check at some point.
Look it up right now.
Okay, yeah, look it up right now. So they all, like, Tom's plan, like, it works. Like, they all get cured. Everyone gets cured. They reuse footage from Spider-Man 3 to bring Flint Marko back, like the actor. And then they reused the same footage for Kirk Connors, and, like, Doctor Strange comes in through the portal and he's like, zip it, like, I've been falling for 30 minutes in the Grand Canyon. And all of them show up, and I love how they're like, he's like, you went to the Grand Canyon? He could have used your help, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, such, like, a Spider-Man thing to say. And, like, I feel like that, like, the fight between, like, all of the different villains is so fast but it's just so effective because you have 3 Spider-Men and they all focus on one target and then they just cut loose. And like even like again, but Garfield's quips when he's fighting the lizard, he's like, "Hey Connors, how's it going?" He's like, "Wait your turn." He does like the little like boop 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 thing with the webs. It's just like he doesn't even like really do like the actual like Spider-Man pose thing. He like just whips it out like this, like he's just like actually like, throwing punches. I love that style, just like this. It's just so cool and just so unique to him. And then yeah, so MJ and Ned get back on the bridge. Doctor Strange comes back, gets the box, and he's about to press the button. They're all about to go home. And then Willem Dafoe fucking shows back up in his new Goblin outfit and just screws everybody. Like, he beats Doc Ock, too, which is, like, another, like, cool thing that happens, because Doc Ock comes back and he, like, turns good, gets a good moment with Tobey Maguire where they're just sort of talking. I kind of wish that they, like, shared the same screen as opposed to, like, doing, like, the cut thing. But I imagine that was probably, like, you know, set, COVID, time restraint, links, like, that sort of thing. So...
Well, they were on screen together.
Well, like, I don't think that they didn't, like, share the same screen. You know what I mean? Like, it was, like, medium shot, but they weren't, like, on the screen at the same time with, like, face-to-face, you know?
One moment where it's a wide shot, and it's the moment where Doctor Strange comes in, where they're both on screen together.
Yeah.
But, like, it isn't close-up of their faces.
Yeah. Like, a close-up would have been nice, but, like, it is what it is, you know? But then Dafoe fucks the box, it blows up, and then
Spider-Man come out
to play. And then this is actually another subtle thing that I noticed, but Tom dodges the same way that Maguire dodged the Goblin razor bombs in the first movie. When he's in the burning house, like he does that little like curl back and spin. Tom Holland dodges the exact same way before Molina blocks it. So the thing blows up, the bridge is collapsing, and of course, Tom Holland, you have that moment where he's coming down, he's diving for MJ, and what happens?
And sure as shit, the greatest prediction that everybody knew was gonna happen. Green Goblin comes by, and... Dude,
my whole theater when that happened went, oh! Whole fucking theater.
When he got hit, everyone went, and then...
You see Garfield's face.
Andrew Garfield says, "Oh," and everybody in the theater went,
"Hell yes!" And he fucking caught her, and like he learned his lesson. He didn't thwip down. He just dove straight for it, and it was just that's how you're supposed to catch them because they can't survive that fucking impact. You can. So you grab her, do your fucking front flip, and then just land. And just, you know, she's okay, and he starts fucking tearing up because he's like, I fucking did it. Like,
The whole room burst into tears. Because he said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah." And then he starts to cry, and everybody was just like, No, sweet boy, please.
Sweet Andrew.
You know?
And then, and immediately after that, like, Tom is like, beating the shit out of the Goblin's glider, like takes the bomb, shoves it in there, it blows up, and they have their final fight scene where Dafoe says, you know, "You were too weak to send me home to die," and he's like, "Nah, man, I wanted to kill you myself." And he's like, "Yeah, that's that a boy." And that, I would fucking love to have a sparring match with web shooters now, because again, it's so real, it's so violence, and like just the fact that he webs the ground on his feet so he can't move, so he sucker punches him. It was so dirty, and I love that. He like jumps up, does the fucking ground pound, dents the fucking shield. That was a kill shot. That was 100% a kill shot to the head. I fucking loved that whole fight. Does the fucking suplex on Dafoe, just and then like this. God damn it.
The best part about it was that Spider-Man normally fights with webs and ripping apart drones and does all this crazy stuff where he grabs, you know, he reaches out and grabs a pumpkin bomb and throws it back at him. No, they went straight up raw fist fighting, like punch him in the face, like did not give a shit. It's like, I don't give a fuck if I'm Spider-Man. I'm Peter Parker right now, and I'm kicking your ass.
Yeah, dude, the fucking sound started getting distorted too, like when he was getting punched, like, god damn it, it was so fucking good. And like, takes the glider, he's about to kill Dafoe, and then Maguire steps in.
And just looks at him and says, you know, you can just tell.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
Yeah, and it's like...
Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
And it's so parallel to the first movie, too, because, like, he dodged the glider so that it wouldn't hit him, but instead, this time, he jumps in to stop it, you know? And, like, and again, like, you know, not to settle, like, the Maguire is better than all the other Spider-Man arc, but, like, he stops the glider, and it doesn't kill him. Like, he stops it, and he stops Tom Holland. He's strong enough to hold it. So... just Jesus. And then the biggest heart attack in the entire fucking movie.
World.
Oh my god, where Maguire gets stabbed in the back. And I really think that they were originally going to kill him. And then the higher power stepped in and was like, no, let's not do that. Let's save him for another movie. Let's keep him alive. Because it was so brief, and he was like, yeah, I get stabbed all the time. It's no big deal. It's like, no, I really think you were going to die. I really thought Maguire was going to die, and then he didn't.
I thought so, too. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm slightly disappointed that he didn't.
That he didn't, yeah.
I think if you really want to get an audience, and you want to fucking make them... love this
lose
movie.
Their minds, make Maguire
if
die.
they had actually killed Tobey Maguire, I think everybody in the room would have just like taken a moment of silence and just, you know,
and just saluted him.
Off to you, you are Spider-Man. Thank you. You know what I mean? One of those, it would have been like Tony Stark. You would have been like, holy fucking shit! I cannot believe they did that.
I think it would have been better too, but
I don't want Peter Parker to die, so I'm really, really happy that they didn't kill him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm the same boat too, but I think like narratively, it just felt very awkward. So I think the original intention was he was gonna die, but the higher power stepped in and was like, nope, we're gonna save him for something else. Hopefully, maybe keep that door open, but yeah, and they cured Dafoe, and he's like, oh my god, what did I do? And just, I was actually like sort of tempted. I was like, Tom, just throw one more punch at him. Just one more. I know that he's cured, but just one more punch. Just knock him out. Just knock him out for your own satisfaction. Like, pull that last punch just enough to knock him out, and that's it, you know? And then he goes up to Strange, and all of those villains are starting to come through, and like you could see like Kraven the Hunter, Scorpion. I saw Alistair Smythe on my second viewing. Rhino. Those are all the ones that I saw. I haven't seen any other ones. I haven't even seen a screenshot of that actually to like really look.
Yeah, I need to see it again, but
Scorpion.
The two that I noticed the most were Scorpion and Rhino, but they were right next to each other.
Yeah.
So,
but then he says, you know, just make everyone forget that Peter Parker ever existed, and let's just do that.
For a second, I was like, huh, that's actually not a bad. Oh fuck, you know what I mean? It was like,
yeah.
No, come on. And part of me was just like, there's another way. There's like, you can get away with this. You can get away with this. Just, part of me was like, it doesn't have to be the Peter Parker thing. You could just say, I wish nobody knew that I was Spider-Man. Like, just go back to doing the original spell. If I have to tell Ned named MJ all over again, I will. Like, much rather do something like that.
Yeah, I think at that point, though, it was too late.
He was so broken that it was just like, I don't care. I just want it to end. I want everybody in my life to be okay. I don't care. Like, just end it, you know?
Yeah. And I think that, what was I about to say? Shit. I was actually confused. Like, I didn't catch that the first time around. So, like, I thought that they were going to go back to their, like, original, like, I thought it was just going to go back to the original spell and that was it. I just didn't, I didn't realize it. until he went to the coffee shop and he was like, hi, like, you know, I'm Peter Parker and I know that you've never like met me before, but like we went on all these adventures, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, oh, so everyone forgot that Peter Parker existed. And it was just
I knew that when he said, you know, I'll find you, I'll come back and I'll find you guys, don't worry. I was like, the dude is throwing away his entire life right now.
Yeah.
His existence never happened. And that was like, that is the most Peter Parker thing that has ever happened.
Yeah.
In a Spider-Man movie. He is so selfless that he gave up his entire existence to save everyone.
Yeah.
And it's so well. And then MJ finally says the L word.
Yeah.
And
then Tom Holland was gonna say it, and she's like, nope, say it when you see me again. The thing that I'm wondering is, like, did it erase all of the pictures that they had too? Because are they gonna like scroll through their phone and find like pictures of them with Peter?
I can't wait for MJ to open up her phone and be like, who the fuck is this kid on my lock screen, and why are we kissing?
Yeah, you know exactly what I mean? Like, right.
No, to forget Peter Parker ever existed probably pulled some like WandaVision stuff and kind of reset some history, like they did that with like they did that in Harry Potter. When
I was about to say the Harry Potter. When
Hermione wipes her parents' memory of her, she actually disappears from the pictures so that they really don't remember her.
Yeah, so somebody mentioned that to me too.
My assumption would probably be that the same thing happens. Not only does like they forget that Peter Parker existed, but also like but how can you forget that somebody existed and then still have all these memories with them?
Yeah.
Well, essentially, he is changing the history of these memories never happened, and he's the only person that remembers them.
Yeah, but like Spider-Man obviously still exists.
Spider-Man
like
exists, but not, you know.
Yeah, so maybe like MJ is gonna be in love with Spider-Man and not Peter Parker.
Yes,
potentially.
Which I think is really good that they can use, and. There's a rumor going around, so obviously they're signed up for 3 more movies, and Tom Holland is signed up to be in all 3 of them. Spider-Man 4 in development, which now starts the college trilogy, which I think we're gonna see some new characters again.
Harry Osborn,
who I would pay $1 million fucking for him to be played by Timothée Chalamet. So Harry Osborn, Miles. But young, really.
Yeah, younger Miles. Yep.
Like a kid, like 7, not like a teenager. Tom Holland isn't old enough to be that guy yet. And plus, we're not done with Tom Holland Spider-Man. Everybody loves Tom Holland. We are not ready to let him go yet.
Right. Yeah.
I will watch the next 8 Spider-Man movies with him.
With Tom Holland. And then I'll be
okay. Because he's just, to me, he's perfect. I love everything about him. I think he's the perfect Spider-Man. I think he's the perfect Peter Parker. He's just really good.
I think that this movie also really established that, too. But I also think that... what was I about to say? Shit. I'm thinking also for, like, any event... Like, any potential, like, Avengers crossovers that happen now, like, they could still have him as, like, Spider-Man, but he wouldn't reveal his identity. Like, he would be in the costume the whole time. So, like, he wouldn't reveal who he is. Like, I think they're gonna go through, like, that arc now where they're just not gonna... like, you know, because he was very, like, talkative and happy to just reveal himself to everybody. Like, he revealed himself to, like, you know, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange. Like, obviously Tony Stark knew who he was, but, like, he's, like, maskless in, like, the final Avengers battle, which is just something that Spider-Man just wouldn't do. But I feel like now they're gonna, like, make him mask up always, and they're like, oh yeah, who are you? And he's like, I'm Spider-Man. Like, that's it. The last time my identity got revealed, we all got fucked. So I'm keeping my mask up.
And I think part of it also is like, I personally, and I hate to say this because I really don't want to, I don't think we're getting any more Spider-Man content for at least like 4 years.
Oh, I agree, Matt. I agree, dude. This was an adventure.
Was their height, and they said, okay, We got the Spider-Man that we wanted. Everybody's happy with the movie. We're happy with the ending. Just, we don't need any more Spider-Man for a couple years.
Yeah, we need to calm down. You know?
Yeah, they're like, we need to calm down with the Spider-Man stuff. Let it be what it is. Spider-Man No Way Home, it's done. It's over with. Let Tom Holland get a little bit older. And then they'll start the next trilogy of movies, which will be Tom Holland, Peter Parker will be a junior in college. Still being his little boy Peter Parker brain hasn't figured out a way to get MJ to fall back in love with him.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 4 years later, and then he'll come back to it and be like, "All right, MJ, I've waited 4 fucking years for you. I'm ready. I need you again." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's where that'll take us next. And
and I love how the movie ended too. Are we talking about the ending now?
Yes. Let's move on to the ending. So I have things that I like and things that I really don't like about the way that this movie ended.
Okay, so let's explain what happened first. So he goes to the grave, he sees Happy, and Happy's like, how'd you know her? And he's like, from Spider-Man. And he's like,
Aunt May's grave.
He's like, who did I say?
No, you just said it goes to the grave. I'm just saying Aunt May's grave.
Okay. I was like, whose grave did I say? Like, did I say Uncle Ben's grave on accident?
No, it goes to Aunt May's grave. And Happy
sees
says,
Happy.
How did you know her? And
I feel like he's testing the waters to see what
if it really worked.
Yeah, and he's like, through Spider-Man. So like, I think that sort of confirms that like all the events happened and they all know who Spider-Man is, and like Spider-Man was a part of all these events, but he was just masked up the whole time and everyone just doesn't know who he is.
The other thing that I really thought about was Aunt May was the last person to remember Peter Parker. That sucks to think about. Aunt May is the last person who ever remembered Peter Parker existed. Yeah. That sucks. But also, then you think about it and you're like, God damn it. It's such a good ending.
It really is.
Now, my biggest gripe with the ending. So Peter Parker sees Happy, and
he gets his own apartment,
and he gets his own apartment and stuff like that. And he goes and he sees MJ and Ned in a coffee shop, and he tries to explain to them. He's got this whole speech written out. Hi, I'm Peter Parker. We used to be in love. I'm Spider-Man, and all this other stuff. And he goes in and he sees MJ and Ned, and they get into MIT. And so he sees how happy they are, not knowing who he is.
And he just leaves it.
And he agrees, but he makes the smart decision and agrees to take it slow. I don't think he says, I'm just going to leave them forever. I think he says, if I bombard them with all of this information, they're going to think I'm nuts. I need to do this the way I did it the first time. I need to take it slow. I need to build it up. It's going to suck for me because I'm obviously in love with this girl standing in front of me, but I need to do this right. My name is Peter Parker. All I want to buy is a coffee. And he lets it go. And she says, okay, I'll see you around, Peter Parker. And he says, yes, you will. And that's it. And that's their interaction.
Yeah.
Then he goes home to his apartment, and there's a close-up on a sewing machine with some weird shining blue fabric.
With some classic fabric, and he gets a more traditional classic Spider-Man suit.
And he swings through New York City, and it ends with him flying down at the camera.
Yeah. So I actually saw a theory that said that he didn't want to make his own suit,
but the Stark
Tech didn't recognize him. Yep. Just to add more salt to that wound.
It literally makes me so sad that the Stark Tech doesn't remember him, because you got to think about it. Like, honestly, it really doesn't. So he had to make a new suit.
He's the only one who can wear that suit, and if it doesn't recognize him, no one else can wear it. That's so crazy to me.
And if it doesn't recognize him, he can't even acknowledge. So, my biggest issue, I love the new suit. I think it's going to be great. I hate that the blue is like shiny spandex. I think that the blue would be cool. I just don't like the fact that it's like
a very bright, shiny blue.
Like I'm okay with it being bright blue and bright red. That's cool with me. I just don't understand why it's like fake leather shiny fabric.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you ever seen like leather spandex?
Oh yeah.
It's basically like leather spandex but blue, and I just
Yeah.
don't like the shiny because like that just makes him look rich.
I think that
I don't like that.
I will say I didn't like the when I saw it the second time. Like the more that I watch it, I'm like, it just looks weird with like the way that the suit is just presented, because it's not really presented to you. It's like sort of like subtly hidden in a way, so where it's like it's, you know what it feels like? It almost feels like it's unfinished CGI that they're trying to hide by making it dark.
I don't think that is the case.
I don't think it's the case either. It's just like I'm
trying to hide the suit so that in the next Spider-Man movie we'll really get a good look at it, and they're just kind of like teasing what he's gonna look like.
Yeah.
But I just think that the choices of like, when I saw the close-up and I saw the shiny blue fabric, I was like, that's weird. And then he starts flying, and it's like, it's just super reflective. I'm like, Spider-Man kind of like hides in the shadows. Why the fuck is he wearing
he's
reflective metallic-y leather blue fabric?
Yeah, he's wearing like crossing guard like material that shines
really
in the
weird.
night. Yeah.
But it's also like, also my personal opinion, I would be much happier with it. I'd be okay with the shiny if it was black.
Right, yeah. No, I knew you were going to say that too, yeah.
Because
I got to agree with that.
I wonder, are they going to do the reactive lenses now, or is he just going to have regular lenses? Because the reactive lenses are a Stark Tech thing, you know?
I heard from somewhere that I think that they were going to do the reactive thing. Because even on the homemade suit, it was reactive.
Oh, was it really? I don't remember.
Yeah, on the homemade suit, you want to know how you can tell? If you play Spider-Man PS4, you can see that you can change the options. Okay. And even in the movie, he has it. He like, what is it? Yeah, it's on this too. Like, it's very subtle, but like, it's there. So he'll have it.
Let's talk about first post-credit scene.
Oh my god.
Which is Tom
Hardy
sitting at a bar, and he's just bitching about life.
Yeah, and he's like, so let me get this straight. So there was this man made of iron who could fly, and then we had the big green guy. He was the Hulk, right? And you had to do with the stones, you know? I was like, I totally forgot.
Getting filled in on the MCU.
Yeah, I was like, I totally forgot that he was going to be in the movie because of the Carnage post-credit scene. And then he just goes away, yep.
And there's a little part of the symbiote that gets left behind. Now, people are wondering, how the fuck does that happen? My only explanation that makes sense to me is because, like part of Andrew's costume didn't remain after he dissipated back to his universe. Everything he had dissipated back to his universe. The symbiote exists in multiple universes.
Yeah, that's what they said in the Carnage post-credit scene.
That is why it's there. Mm-hmm. So that's why it makes sense. But honestly, the Tom Hardy cameo, I was like, oh my god, it's Venom, and then I was over it.
Yeah, literally same.
This proves that Andrew's Spider-Man is Venom's Spider-Man. Because he's not...
Wait, what?
Because Tom Hardy is not from Tom Holland's universe.
Well, yeah.
He's from a different one. But he's not from Tobey's universe. Because,
well, yeah.
Fucking that 70s show guy is Venom in that universe, which means there can only be one other universe that he can be Venom in, and it's gotta be Andrew's.
Unless it's a completely separate universe, but I would...
Because now people are petitioning.
Wait.
Hardy versus Andrew.
Wait, I just thought of something. So, like, if we're going under the assumption that, like, it was only Tobey and Andrew villains, like, parallels of their universes that came through, then you're right. It has to be Tom Hardy. That universe has to take place in the same one as The Amazing Spider-Man.
But here's the other thing, still plot hole. How the fuck does he get there? He doesn't know he doesn't even know that Spider-Man exists.
No, it's because the symbiote knows.
Oh, that's right, because the symbiote's in multiple universes. That's right.
Yeah, so the symbiote knows that Peter's Spider-Man.
The symbiote attached himself to Tobey, therefore he makes sense.
Yeah, because you saw the Carnage post-credit scene, right?
I haven't seen Carnage yet.
Okay, do you want me to tell you?
Fucking terrible. So.
Do you want to know what happens in the mid-credit scene?
Might as well spoil it for me.
So basically what happens in the mid-credit scene is that like they go through the whole movie and Tom Hardy, the footage is online by the way on YouTube. You can watch it in like HD, but the symbiote basically says that like, you know, the symbiote race, I guess, is basically like a multi-dimensional thing. So like all the information that they have is accessed like through their like entire like I guess like hub network of symbiotes or whatever. And Tom Hardy says, he's like, well, like what else do you know? And he's like, oh well, I can show you, just give me a second. But at that moment they get pulled into the MCU universe and like Tom Hardy's like, what the fuck just happened? And the symbiote doesn't know
I did
either.
See this, and he's in the hotel room and he looks forward at the TV and it's Tom Holland and then the guy walks out.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tom Holland, no, and Tom Hardy's like, wait, who is this guy? Like, what are you talking about? And then the symbiote comes up and he's like, that guy. And like, and so Tom Hardy like has no fucking idea what's going on, but the symbiote clearly does.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean it's overall, and then the second post-credit scene is a trailer for Doctor Strange, which I thought was great. I think it's going to be really good, but I don't think we really need to talk about that because the trailer for Doctor Strange just dropped anyway, so if you want to watch the trailer for Doctor Strange, you might as well just go fucking watch it.
Yeah. It's also directed by Sam Raimi, too. So
I know.
Yep,
and
so...
it's slated to be a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
The
I'm wondering...
Marvel Cinematic Universe horror movie.
Horror movie. I'm hoping that I'm imagining that it's going to have, like, cameos and whatnot too, so I'm wondering if maybe we're gonna see more like crossover with like the multi-dimensional like Fox networks and like the mutants, like maybe
I think we'll see multiple like different I think we'll definitely see different like, you know, we'll probably get, you know, Fantastic Four cameos maybe. That'll be their introduction. We might get X-Men cameos. We may even get Deadpool. Like, we could get any of that stuff. I don't think any of the Spider-Men are going to be in it.
Because of Sony, right? Yeah.
Well, not only because of Sony, but also like they just spent every resource they possibly could making
to get Tobey and Andrew back.
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
That like I don't. Tobey and Spider-Man being Tobey and Andrew being in this movie was a treat. It is not meant to be. They're gonna be in the MCU now. Like it's not meant like they're gonna be Spider-Man in all the movies now. No, it's. This was your treat. You've wanted this forever. Here you go. We're done. You're not seeing them anymore. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with No Way Home being the end of it. You know?
I'm also okay with it. Obviously, I would like to see more, but like we got the dessert.
I don't want them to overdo it.
Yes.
Because if they do too much Tobey Maguire in the movies, then you're going to be like, all right, well, I mean, it's cool. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but like it's not as impactful. It's impactful in No Way Home because you're like, holy fuck. He came back and saved the universe again.
Yeah, you know? I think that like this should be the only time that they cross over for a while. If they do a crossover again, it shouldn't be for like another like 10, 15 years.
I don't think they should do it ever again. I think this is the perfect way to do it. It ended their characters perfectly. It gave them purpose. It gave Andrew his purpose back. It gave Tobey his purpose back. And they just went back to their worlds and called it. Tom Holland is still the main Spider-Man.
Yes.
You know, but I don't think we need to see Tom Holland in Doctor Strange either, because it's not about Tom Holland. You know,
yeah,
if anything, Tom Holland can appear in a post-credit scene, but like I would want to go see Doctor Strange to watch Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I don't
me too.
Go there, like I'm sure, like seeing Spider-Man will be awesome, but I don't want to go see a Doctor Strange movie and have Spider-Man be main character.
Yeah,
you know?
No, it's basically like this. If Maguire and Garfield weren't in this movie, it still would have been amazing. But we can't go into Doctor Strange thinking that we're going to get, like, all of these cameos, all of these things. Like, that's not why we're going to go see the movie.
No, that they sort of said Spider-Man's the movie. If you want all of your dreams to come true, Spider-Man's the movie, because this is, like, the only time we're going to do this. And if they do make other cameos and stuff like that, it's going to be for new characters. And Fantastic Four and... you know, maybe Silver Surfer or, you know, those kind of people. We'll get those. But the only thing I could possibly see happening as, like, a major spoiler, like, holy fuck cameo is Hugh Jackman. But
Hugh Jackman would be great.
There is no, and my genuine opinion,
There's no way it's gonna happen.
No. There is no way that they are going to that Marvel Studios with Kevin Feige is going to make. Now knowing that the multiverse exists, there is no way that Kevin Feige will ever allow an X-Men movie to be made without him, without Hugh Jackman.
Without Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Kevin Feige knows. He knows that if an X-Men movie gets made, it has to be Hugh Jackman or no one's going to want to see it.
Yeah.
It's different for Tobey Maguire, and then they already rebooted it with Andrew, and then they rebooted it again because they were different universes. But now that they've made it multiple universes and they've made it canon that they were all different things, now it's like there's no way that the fans would never accept somebody else playing Wolverine. Will never.
Yeah, well, it's almost similar in a way to like Daredevil. You know, like so many people wanted Charlie Cox's Daredevil to come back that they made it happen. If it wasn't him, like a lot of people would have been pissed. You know, so. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have been pissed necessarily, but I would have been like, dude, like, you already spent all this time getting Daredevil right. Like, why did you have to do it again? You know, it's like, it's the same thing. So,
yeah.
But,
I mean,
but
I think
yeah. I think so too. There was basically we've been talking for almost 2 hours now about it.
Well, we covered everything.
Yeah, basically if we talked for another half hour, that would be the entire movie.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts. Final thoughts.
Yes.
Spider-Man No Way Home, in my personal opinion, is by far the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time.
I think I'm the same way.
It brings together all three generations of Spider-Man. It gives everybody... It's the perfect amount of fan service without being too much. It's not like Star Wars where they went out of their way to be like every line was a fan service line. You know?
Yeah.
They went out of their way to give you what you want. They make it tasteful. They redeem characters that needed to be redeemed. They went out of their way to make Andrew just how he was supposed to be. They went out of their way to make Tobey have his meaningful moment by saving Goblin at the end. It's perfect. And then they also go through and they make Tom Holland's character really become Spider-Man by killing Aunt May. He does the most Peter Parker thing of all of them. He makes the biggest sacrifice that any of the Spider-Men have ever made, which is the entire universe forgets that he exists, and that is inspirational on a level. You know, he is so selfless that he just gave up everything to make other people happy, and that is what Spider-Man is all about. And this movie got it right every minute.
Yes, absolutely. And I think for me, like, you know, I haven't necessarily been the most positive when it comes to, like, Homecoming and Far From Home. I just haven't been, but I think that this movie really rounded out that trilogy for me and just sort of, like, it almost worked in, like, the opposite way of, like, the new Star Wars movies, you know, where, like, Force Awakens was really good. The Last Jedi, like, had its controversy, but was still really well. But the ending, The Rise of Skywalker, ruined the entire trilogy. I think that this was the opposite, where, like, I appreciate Homecoming and Far From Home more now because you see the growth of his character in all three of those movies, not even including, like, Civil War and then the two Avengers movies he was in. But if you just go off of this trilogy, he becomes a different person in every single movie, where he learns a new lesson. And then this was the movie where he was the most challenged and he had to step up into the role of what it really means to be Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yep.
Yeah. And like and again, like, this was like a huge endeavor to get all of these villains back, to get Goblin, Doc Ock, Lizard, Electro, Sandman. I'm a little surprised that they didn't try to get more Holland villains in, but like, this was good. This was great enough. And I think that, like, if it was just all of those villains without Maguire and Garfield, it still would have worked, in my opinion.
It still would have been a fantastic movie, but having Andrew and Tobey be in the movie, you just kind of have to be like, that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are your childhood heroes, and they brought them back, and it was the perfect way. Now, this is my last comment, and then I have to go eat.
Right, same.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 was the first MCU movie.
Technically, you are right. It's crazy. They're officially on the MCU website now, too. They have, like, official, like, stills and everything.
If you guys want a good, wholesome Spider-Man movie, fucking go watch No Way Home. It's perfect in every way. I'm sorry if you watched this video before seeing the movie. You're an idiot if you did. You need
No,
to
no,
watch
no,
the
no,
movie.
no. They watched through all 2 hours of our conversation. There's no fucking excuse.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I'm sorry if you decided
spent
to not
here
see the movie and you decided to watch us spoil it for you. But overall, it's a good movie, and I personally think it is by far the greatest Spider-Man film of all time.
I think
And
so too.
It is one I could watch on repeat for days. And I'm stoked because I think I'm going again next week. So
Awesome. I still cry every time I think about certain scenes in this movie. It's like,
so
it's
good.
gonna
It's
be,
amazing.
yeah. So, thank you, Julian, for joining me on this.
You're very welcome.
We were gonna do this anyways, but we may as well have other people in the discussion as well.
Yeah.
So, if you like gaming and you like Urban Cows, go follow Julian over at UrbanCowGaming on YouTube and Twitch. I will put your links in the description below.
Awesome.
We got to do this again sometime.
Yes, absolutely. I like this kind of discussion.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's great. So,
let's do it with
Doctor Strange?
yeah, let's do it.
Fuck
with
yeah.
whatever.
I'm totally
All right.
down, man. All right, and
Stay tuned for our next spoiler video.
right, exactly. And if you guys have any thoughts on what you thought about Spider-Man No Way Home, or you want to get angry at us for spoiling the entire movie for you, leave a comment down below. Again, thank you so much, Julian, for joining me, and thank you guys for watching us ramble about our favorite Spider-Man movie. And we will see you next time. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.